Okay, so welcome everyone. So Harriet and I chose this topic because it comes from a shared experience. Our stories are different,
Mhm.
but we both know what it means when illness changes the body.
Yeah.
And Harriet, I uh, I met you while scrolling on Substack. I met you. I saw your recording,
Mhm.
uh, and I said to myself, "This is definitely a shared experience." You were talking about um, body image, changing body image, and healing after breast cancer.
I'm Harriette Richard. I have a PhD in applied experimental psychology from the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. I'm a three-time breast cancer survivor, and my Substack is Looking Through the Mirror Still, Body Image, Breast Cancer, and Healing. And most of my work has been done as a psychologist, experimental psychologist, and researcher with women over 50, in particular African American women, and their live stories, their narratives. Often people don't use what the exact words, they kind of paraphrase, but I use the exact words and look at the research and am interested primarily in post-traumatic growth. That's the thing that happens after you go through all this trauma and you're doing things you never thought you would do.
And that's what we'll be delving in very soon. Well, I'm Fatimah Ali. My Substack is Lupus in Community. My background is public health. I've been in academia, teaching, and doing research, and then went off to health coaching for years, for many years. And now I'm back in research, doing patient engagement work most of the time. And so here we are. I've been living with lupus since 2015. And today we will talk about how that journey affected me. And you will talk about, of course, your side of the story with breast cancer. And
Mhm.
so, Harriet, I would like to know, when did you first notice that your body had changed and it's changed your sense of identity? And I use identity in a broader sense because body image is part of identity,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I know other things change with identity. There is your mindset or your value system can shift
Mm.
during trauma.
Mhm.
What else can change? Other
Yeah.
physical, how you see your friendships and your relationships, all
Mhm.
that is part of your identity. So let's start with your body image.
Okay. Well, with the lumpectomy, there wasn't much of a change because it's just a little scratch. But after the first mastectomy, almost 3 years to the date after the lumpectomy, the removal of the breast, and then some, 2022, the removal of the other one, um, you have, well, even though you put the foobs up there, you still have a sense that things have changed because you've got to have this other attachment that you use. I think it hasn't changed my identity as much as it has. I'm still who I am,
Right.
but it just kind of the thing that changed more of my identity or like who I was when I lost all my hair. It wasn't that I was so attached to my hair, but it was that when I put on the wig the first time, which I only wore twice, people did not know how sick I was. This wig may make
Yeah.
me look like I'm okay, but I am not okay. So,
Right. Right. You
so
had
that,
a hidden illness.
yes, yes. And at that point, I really wanted people to know that I couldn't do all that I thought I could do, or to take it easy on me. Anyway, there's an incident when I had to take some things out of the suitcase at the airport, and I was thinking, I need to just snatch this wig off and say, I got cancer. And then,
Right. So people will know and treat you.
and just leave me alone. Leave me alone. But yeah, but
Right.
that's one of those incidents. And so it changed how I saw myself somewhat, but I was still essentially me. But you got to go through some depression, some other kinds of things, anxiety about it all.
You talked about hidden illness. I just want to step back and say that this conversation is for people with hidden illness, visible illness, those navigating the emotional work of becoming themselves. I think you will enjoy this conversation. But yeah, for me, like you said, the essence of who I am remained, but I had so much time, the still time, the isolation to think about so many things. But before I go into that, the first time I would describe my lupus journey as having two phases. The first time is when lupus appeared on my skin, my upper body mainly, and visibly on my face. So what happens with cutaneous lupus, which affects the skin, you get your skin peels and is raw. It becomes almost like a burn.
Oh, wow.
And so it happened over a weekend, and the following Monday morning, I went to work. I approached this little lady at work to ask her or tell her something, and she backed up, made a face, looked at me, and like, what is on your face? What is that? That grimace, what she said, I felt it.
I'm
And it
sure.
got me thinking, I must look like a monster. I didn't consider myself ugly, but I, in hindsight, if I were to switch places, if I were in her shoes, I would probably be wondering what's on your face. Is it contagious, maybe? you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so understanding that, I thought, yeah, it's something I need to hide. I can't let people see that and get this reaction all the time. So I needed to protect myself too, with that feeling, that emotion. And so my self-image, my body image changed in that sense that I had to mask, and the secrecy of not telling people what I had, also because I didn't want to change how people saw me. I carried on that way. I was good at, I became expert in wearing my foundation. I still am. Although I've healed, I just have scars now, which is easier to gloss over. But when it was raw and really visible was the hardest for me. But also my second phase, that was, after 7 years of break, I was doing well. My research on lupus and all the applications that I've done and the integrative medicine doctors that I've seen and just put everything together that worked for me. Exercise, lost weight, changed my diet. I mean, not that my diet was bad, but with lupus, you've got to understand what triggers those reactions. So I noticed that I was sensitive to gluten, to so many foods that people, I mean, my loved ones were like, are you sure you don't have food anxiety or what? But anyhow, uh, in the second phase, my image, my body image, was really affected because when after 7 years the lupus came back, it came back with such a severity that I haven't experienced before. And so other bodily systems were affected. My mobility was affected. my speech even. I ordinarily talk slowly, but during then I was talking like, oh my God, so slow. And all of that changed my body. But I'd also, because I have this image of myself as being an active, able-bodied person,
Mm-hmm.
able-bodied person. I was also in the community applying my passion, health prevention
Yeah.
and promotion. I was promoting it. I created a women's empowerment group and a hiking group and all of that. So all that just shattered for me. Now asking
Mm-hmm.
myself, who am I? What do I do now? What's my role? So in terms of identity, that was shattered. My identity. On top of that, I lost my coaching position, my coaching job,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like, okay, your job is gone, your community, your place in the community is gone. So now what?
There was something that you mentioned I had not thought about when you talked about your the physicality and that happening, because after lymphedema, well, I got lymphedema 6 years after, and anytime a woman experiences breast cancer, that
Hmm.
probability of lymphedema is there for a while. It can happen at 6 months or 30 years, which is really pretty startling.
Right.
And so this feeling that I had in my left arm, and within the
Hmm.
last couple of years, somewhat in my right. So I wear the
Hmm.
compression sleeves to help keep that down. But that's one of those things people who look at lymphedema and lipedema also talk about trying to, which I try to do sometimes, 20 grams of carbs. Oh my gosh, that's hard. But it does help when I'm really below 50 grams of carbs in
Right.
terms of the swelling and that kind of. Plus, there are exercises you need to do to move the lymph because it doesn't move.
All
So
of
that's
that.
physically something that happens. And it may not be as obvious to people because they don't see me put my two arms together to see, show
Right.
that one's larger. But there are certain things that can happen and did happen. I still play racquetball, even if this, and do all the racquetball, pickleball. I used to
Right.
play racquetball,
Oh,
now pickle.
pickleball. Yeah,
Uh,
pickleball.
yeah, I still do that, but and I wear my compression sleeve most of all the time, really. But yeah, things do go on outside that happen to us physically that we have to look at what we're eating, what we're doing,
Hmm.
making sure we stay hydrated. There are lots of things that can happen.
Did you ever grieve your old life, your what you were able to do before and all of that?
I mean, I ran marathons before, but I didn't did
Hmm.
marathons even. I rollerbladed after. I don't think it stopped me from doing things. Um, yeah, I don't think it stopped me from doing things that I wanted to do physically. And maybe it might have pushed me a little bit more because when I did the marathons, I did it for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So there was still kind of
Right.
a bridge into, a disease state helping in some way, raising monies to
Right.
run. The first one was Honolulu, then it was Alaska, and the last one was Chicago.
Good for
Somewhere around mile
you.
13,
Woo-hoo.
hey, around mile 13, I was like, it's over. I'm never doing this again in my life. But I finished that one in Chicago, and that was it. This was after breast cancer and before the last one. It was in between. Yeah,
Right, in
yeah.
between. In between.
And
So
see,
I asked you that because during illness, during recovery, right? Not afterwards. You
mm-hmm.
kind of wonder, you like, goodness, okay, so now I'm able to do this and that. How is my healing going to end up? Am I going to have all that ability come back? Talking about,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I understand what you're saying because it
yeah,
affected walking. This was external. These were my boobs. That was it. They cut them off, and you go home the next morning.
right,
Yeah. Unless you're
right,
doing reconstruction. But
right.
Yeah. So
You
it wasn't
know,
a lot that it stopped me from doing. So it's a different thing. Yes.
right,
What? Fatima?
right.
Fatima?
No, I just recalled when we were talking outside of this last time,
Mhm.
and you mentioned having to wear a sock, and I found that, well,
Yes.
funny,
Yes.
not funny, but
Yes.
what
Yeah.
made you
Well,
wear a sock?
let me tell you, yes, yes, because I didn't have the foods at first. And I remembered somebody telling me you could, ball up a sock and put it in there. And that's what I did. And I was talking to I was teaching, retired from Johnson C. Smith University, one of my colleagues who's in the technology area. And I remember, not, it wasn't Frank, it was somebody else. Anyway, I was talking to him and he was just, we were talking and he kind of looked strangely a little bit. And I just kept on, and then after I walked away and I looked down, there was a sock sitting right up
Oh,
there.
it was
So
coming up.
it did come up. And I was like, what did he think? He did not, I mean, I don't think at that time, because I didn't really hide the fact that I had breast cancer, but I didn't really advertise.
Right,
I don't know what
right,
he
right,
thought was happening. Maybe
right.
I was, like stuff their bras with tissue or whatever. Maybe he thought I stuffed with socks. Yeah.
Something, yeah. But what that to me what it goes to showing is perhaps you were conscious about your
Yeah,
body
I guess I
image,
was.
right?
I
By
was
by
conscious about
by
the sock
putting
coming
that
up.
by putting
Yeah.
that, right? So you were covering in a way. So
Yeah, I was. I
um,
was. 'Cause I was trying to, balance myself here. There was just only this one boob, but this other one, there was nothing. So I thought, that was before before they gave me the food to put in there.
yeah,
Uh,
right,
or the prosthesis. Okay.
right.
But I just sock in and yeah. And after that,
Yeah,
I didn't, I just waited till I got the prosthesis. I did not put another sock
r-
in.
right, right. And this whole thing also, it's so that you feel your old self, right? You want to
Yeah.
be have what
Yeah,
you
your
had before.
clothes fit. Your
Yeah,
clothes fit.
naturally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Harriet, I noticed also your sound has an echo.
What does?
Did you notice that?
No, I
But
don't, and
that's
I don't know.
fine. I notice it comes on when you move
Okay, well,
back
I will
and
stay
forth.
still.
Yeah.
I will stay still. Thank
That would be hard to do. But so my next question for you was,
you. Mhm.
and you've touched on that already, sort of. What hasn't been touched? What part of your body was not touched by the illness? Is it your emotional state? What wasn't touched? We talk about
Yeah,
body
we talked
image,
about the
right?
physical arms,
Right.
the
Yeah.
leg, the feet, the neuropathy that touched me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, it's something you don't see, and it's not
Right.
obvious to anybody else except yourself.
Except yourself.
And then it
Yeah.
comes and goes, which is kind of crazy. Um, what else was untouched? Like I said, the hair was really touched. And
Yeah.
yeah, but
Tell me more
not
about your hair. Why you found that
well.
difficult?
Someone assumed that I was doing well, and I was not, and I needed help, but I didn't ask for help. I just really don't need you to tell me I need to take something out of this luggage in order for it to go through. I got to take 2 pounds out or 3 or whatever, so I won't get
Right.
charged the extra money. Um, it was just knowing that and wanting to just take it off. Uh, when I lost my locks and she, shaved my head and all of that. After that incident, I think I went from the airport to someplace else, and someone gave me. They said, "Oh, you're not doing well." I said, "Yeah, I have breast cancer." They said, "Oh, I'll give you 20% off." Thank you, thank you. And
There you go.
after that, I just went bald. I'm like, I can't. It's too hot. I don't like hats, and wigs feel like hats. So I went bald for until, my hair grew out. And I was
Mm,
okay with that. I really was. Yeah, yeah.
that's okay.
Mhm.
That's great.
But
Well,
that losing hair is really something for people. It really is I want to say a kind of a defining moment that okay, something's
yeah,
going on. This stuff is in my body. It's working, and it has now taken my hair. Now, what else is it going to take? What else is going
yes,
to
yes.
happen?
The
What do I need
hair,
to know?
losing your hair, and I think your facial features takes away
Mhm.
an image of yourself. You look in the mirror and you see something else, and you wonder, if I feel like that, what about others, looking at me?
I think the good news is that you get to the part after you go through all of that where you get to that, go through the trauma, the depression, the anxiety, whatever.
Hmm.
If you need to see a psychologist or somebody, you go through all that, and then you get to that post-traumatic growth after you've gone through the state.
Hmm.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
well, what we see happening, at least what I in my research is that the
right,
people do more than they ever thought they could do. They are involved in things that just kind of change the world or change their worldview or help people see things differently. Or I had no idea that I was going to have a career in looking at breast cancer and do clinical trials and, for 15 years of research. I was doing other things. I was teaching and doing research, but I never knew it was going to be this strong, this significant. And
right,
yeah, but when I talk to these different groups of women, they all talk about what they are now doing.
right,
And I think that's
right. Yeah, post-traumatic growth. I first heard of the term. You named it for me. I experienced it when I heard you call it. I said, huh, yes, this is exactly what I think happened to me. Of course, my story is different with lupus. And I did check about that. It led me in a rabbit hole where I found out the initial researcher that coined this name when studying PTSD.
Mhm.
I think Richard
T.
Tedeschi and Lawrence
Yes.
Calhoun.
Yeah.
And so, post traumatic, after the trauma, after your sense of self has been shaken, your identity, your body image, all that we've talked about have been shaken, and now you have to redefine yourself in a way, or find a sense of purpose. Maybe you start channeling that energy into something,
Mhm.
creativity. You find grounding in whatever it is. For me, I found grounding in faith, in
Mm.
prayer, right? And
Mhm.
my growth was my creative growth, I would say, was going back to writing. I always loved writing. I just never had the time. But sitting still and thinking and needing to voice out my feelings and experience, it got me writing poems, even, which
Here.
I
Yeah.
loved doing when I was a little girl,
Mm.
and found myself writing a children's ebook, and on Substack too, writing and trying to help others. So I guess that goodness, I would say, positive experience came out of it.
Yeah.
And but I'm also wondering about confidence and visibility. When we talk about self confidence, and did your illness alter that, change your confidence in a way?
Um, I don't think it did because I stepped up and kept doing. I was doing certain things already, on
Right.
different boards and this and that and the other. and I continued doing that. But I think there was a shift in terms of the direction of the research and the commitment to making sure that it was making a difference in terms of women and their experiences, and even having, so the first article even I had one of my colleagues kind of interpret what the women said, because it doesn't always fit into the diagnostic kind of manual. So I had a clinical psychologist look at what people were saying and kind of qualitatively group those things together. I should say that William Cross in the Journal of Black Psychology talked about post-traumatic growth also. And he talked about it in terms of ancestries during, slavery times or whatever, and how people continue to strive to do things because of the next generation coming. And that's the part that we often miss. And it starts even before we can name stuff. There's some things happening before, and that's his point. It's in the July issue of Journal of Black Psychologist 2024. But he talks about post-traumatic growth and the good part of what happens through all the trauma. And that's an important piece. But when I talk to women, often they were not aware that this was something that they had longed to do, but they were now doing. And I think that's remarkable. I've talked to several groups, about 3 or 4 groups, and of women and who've had cancer or breast cancer, and they talk about what they're doing now, where they opened a daycare or where they did this or the other, they wrote a book, and here we are on Substack. Oh, and here we are on product out there
that good things will come out of what you think is bad for you, and it's part of my religious belief too, not to lose hope and to look for the good in whatever bad happens to you. So, but when you're in it, sometimes you're only human, right? you're human.
Only human, right? We're only human.
But the journey still, that it reinforced it for me, my beliefs. If I look back and reflect on my experience, it reinforced those beliefs. And to talk about confidence, I wanted to share something with you, because of all the body changes on my face. This is where I was tested, because I always thought I come out authentically. I show my real self everywhere I go. I'm confident no matter what. But this experience showed me, hey, you're not all that confident. Going back again to what we're talking about, identity, changing identity, right? But I've learned now that confidence can mean showing up the way you are.
Absolutely.
And I think the first time I would say I came out of it was I was still recovering. My new treatment was working. I saw a second doctor for another doctor for a second opinion, and this new treatment was working. And lo and behold, this doctor reaches out to me, say, "Hey, we have some lupus research, community-based research, and I thought of you as the chair of the team. Can you chair this research?" And I told my husband, "No, I can't. I don't. First of all, I don't have the energy. My speech is slurred and slow." And I still had the brain fog. It
That's right.
my responses were delayed and all of that. I said, no, I can't. This is not the right time. My husband, he championed all the things that I did before. Oh, yes. And you know what? I think this will open the doors for you to do more research about lupus and this and that. And you've done this before. You did it. You've been wanting to always go into research,
Mm-hmm.
to come back to researching, right? I said, oh yeah, I took it. I took it. I mean, there were challenges, but I did it. But the fear, uh, I realized afterwards that I had this fear lingering. I think that was PTSD, looking back, where I just all of a sudden was territorial in my
Mm-hmm.
role in the research team. One person that was challenging me, but I realized I had that fear, and then the fear from having lost my job and income too,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of changed I was more, uh, the aggressive side of me came out almost in
Hmm.
leadership. And looking back, that was what was happening. I didn't know that part of me before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
coming out to do lives and all this
I was about
Zoom
to say
meetings and stuff,
this is a whole nother
I,
thing.
yeah, I did not want to do it. I did not want to do it. And I saw John doing lives is easy, on Substack. All you have to think about the videos. If you are on Instagram and Facebook and you've done videos before, just think about it. Think it's just like that, but only more than 5 minutes. But how about start? He said, "How about starting with 5 minutes, and we could do it together." And I did that with him, 5 minutes. So I did that 5 minutes with him, and lo and behold, after that, here I am. I
You
think
were
this
rolling.
is my
You
fifth.
were rolling then, because I think yes, you have the hang of it. You are doing quite
I
well.
I still get the jitters, but yeah, I'm here. But so we talked about partly the emotional impact, the grounding. For you, what was your grounding?
It's my
How
faith.
did you find grounding
My faith.
during illness?
Yeah, I think you need support groups and you need friends who are there. The two Substacks that went out today, that was supposed to be one this week and one next week. Well, anyway, they're both about friendships, and
Yeah,
that's critical. And
yeah,
your faith and your friends, and family. Oh, that's F, isn't it? Faith, friends, yeah, yeah, all those.
yeah.
Makes the difference. I
Right.
think in your life.
What if someone um, was going through changes right now? What would you tell them, Harriette?
To hang in there. I won't say don't be afraid. I'll just say hang in there. There's more coming, and I think often when we look at these disease states, we look at the negative, but there's a positive part after this, and you just got to hang in there, and you'll get to it, and you'll be surprised at what you can do.
Right, right. And
Right.
yeah, and for me, what would I say to them? Like I said before, confidence is simply telling yourself the truth about where you are, and telling yourself you're still the same. Um, I would tell them that. What else? And that faith, creativity, and remembering that purpose can
Yeah.
change shape. A
Yes.
purpose can change shape without disappearing. It's still there, but
That's great.
it could be channeled into something else, not necessarily what you were used to doing or how you're used to showing up. And
You show up
you're
now.
gonna show
That's
up
what
now.
matters. That's what matters.
You can now.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. And so we've come to the end. If anybody has questions for Harriette and for me, Tina was saying that she's enjoyed this conversation and she thanks us for being vulnerable.
Oh,
Sophie, wonderful conversation, ladies. Thank you, thank you. With hardship comes ease.
mm-hmm.
And
reach out
yeah,
to us.
so tell me, reach
Mhm.
out to us on Substack. Where would people find you, Harriette?
drharriet.substack.com or Harriette Richard, PhD on
All right.
Substack.
And for me, it's Lupus in Community. You'll find the recording under my profile and Harriet's. You also can find the podcast on YouTube and on rss.com and wherever you find your
Right.
podcast. So please leave a comment, share, like,
Mm-hmm.
subscribe or follow so that it helps others find us. And I want to say also before we leave that if you have lupus, if you're listening now or later, that extending my invitation to you, if you would like to share your experience to help others name what they're going through with lupus,
Mm-hmm.
so you can come on my podcast as a guest. So thank you so much for being here, everybody, for your time. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
for your
you.
time.
It
Until
was,
next time, bye.
bye-bye. Thanks.